These are my 8 signs that you may be an empath. It's Michael again. Welcome back. Are you an empath? So I wanted to make this video one of the first videos I created because learning that I was an empath and what it meant to be an empath about 4 or 5 years ago was so crucial and such a significant point in my life that kind of just put everything into perspective. Everything that I experienced before realizing that I was an empath just clicked. It made sense. Before that, I was always searching for a diagnosis, or I was steered into more of the psychological aspect of things, which led me to studying psychology. But it wasn't until I realized that I was an empath that things just made sense. All my experiences, what I was going through, what I was feeling, and it's something that if I had known when I was younger, would have probably made growing up a little bit easier for me, or probably a lot easier for me in explaining what was going on. So what is an empath? An empath is somebody who is highly sensitive and able to tune into the energies around them, which include people, the environment they're in. This can even include animals and sometimes even plants. Empaths are literally like sponges who can absorb everything around them. And not just people's feelings, but this includes thoughts and can even be physical symptoms that other people are experiencing as well. A lot of these signs that I will be discussing today, they do get easier over time. And once you discover you're an empath, there are certain tools that you can use to help you cope with being an empath, which I'll definitely discuss in my next video. But in this video, I want to stick to certain key factors and signs that I personally experienced. There's so many signs that you're an empath, but I want to stick to the signs that I personally went through and I had to face and overcome. So let's get into it. Number 1, you can easily connect to other people and understand people. So have you ever been in a conversation with someone and you just maybe ask them like, oh, how are you today? And they tell you, oh yeah, I'm doing great, everything's fine. But the longer the conversation goes, you can kind of sense that there's something more to what they're saying. You're kind of looking into their eyes, you're kind of feeling and paying attention to what they're not saying. And you can just sense that something is not what it seems. You can just sense that what they're saying is not exactly what they're feeling. Empaths are highly intuitive beings, and we can always feel what's going on in any scenario. No matter what you say, no matter what we can visually see, we're always feeling out what's going on in any situation. When we're having one-on-one interactions, it's almost as if we become the other person that we're interacting with. We're stepping into their experience, their emotions, their well-being, their state of mind. And in a way, it also makes us human lie detectors because we see past the facade, we see past what they're saying to us. And it just makes it easier for us to connect with them and even help them discover things that they may not realize about themselves. And because we resonate so deeply with other people and can step into their shoes, it makes it really hard to be around disingenuous people that we know are lying to us. Do you ever just look at someone telling their story and they're looking at us dead in the eye? We're just letting them tell their story, and in our minds, we're like, this person is full of, we let them have their moment, we let them keep talking, but we know that they're not really telling us the entire picture. You can't lie to us. Try the next one. Number 2. So empaths are usually drawn to all things supernatural, magic, anything mystical, anything that most people don't see as being possible in this reality that we're experiencing, empaths are drawn to. So whether that's like getting psychic readings or tarot cards, the Ouija boards, whatever that is, which I don't recommend. We are drawn to things that most people see as impossible. I think I was probably like 10 or 11 and I was asking my dad to go take me to see The Exorcist because the idea of something such as possession occurring was so intriguing to me. I was always intrigued by aliens and vampires and witches and basically anything not human. Like, human was boring to me. I would tell my friends when I was like 5 or 6 that I was an alien and that my alien family accidentally dropped me off on this planet, but that one day they were gonna come pick me up. And I was so adamant about what I was saying. Like, I wasn't being silly, I wasn't being funny. That's who I felt I was at that time. And I still kind of do feel like that, but you know, I've learned to manage it better. Number 3. So empaths are super sensitive to their environments. Have you ever walked into a room or any environment and you can just feel that something just went down? Like, the vibe is off, people aren't interacting, the energy just feels really dark and dense. You just feel it so heavily within your body. This can be especially apparent in toxic work environments where you just have to be there day to day from 9 to 5, whatever your hours are. And as soon as you walk in, before you walk in, when you wake up in the morning and you think about having to go there, energy in your body just changes. And you just know that this place is not healthy for your overall well-being. And in these type of environments, empaths usually might end up being the peacemaker because we can see both sides of the situation. We understand where A is coming from. We understand where B is coming from. And we also understand how to unite things and just make the environment better as a whole for everyone. We're very sensitive to these type of things that are happening. And with being in certain types of environments, this can also include bright lights, the really loud noises. And don't get me wrong, I can do loud music a lot of times if it's music that I resonate with. When it's a frequency and a certain type of music that just doesn't vibe with your own frequency, it can be very off-putting. So even in your own environment, if you're an empath, you might be more prone to having like plants in your room. Your lights are probably going to be a little bit dimmer than usual, and you're probably just doing things to make yourself feel more at peace, more comfortable. Number 3, empaths most likely feel anxious in really large crowds. So for empaths, walking into a social situation or a very large crowd or anywhere that has a lot of different people in it can be overstimulating and can make you want to just escape. And the reason why this is because you're stuck in a space and picking up everyone's emotional frequency, and it's coming at you from all angles. You don't know how to handle it, and it's just too much for you. You kind of just want to get away. Usually with empaths, like, we do a lot better with one-on-one situations where we can really just focus in on that one person and just make that sort of connection. But crowds, no, just not happening. I think I didn't go to a bar or a club until I was probably about like 20 years old. I was always invited to go out before that. Even when I finally did it, it was just such an awkward experience, but I got through it. Number 4, having to spend time alone. And this has been so apparent, especially after big social gatherings where I would just need days to just unwind and like get away from people, because being in social situations just took such a toll on me and wasn't something that I would do often. So when I would do it, I would need like a few days to recover and just recharge and kind of just balance myself again and wash away any energies I may have picked up. And even growing up, I would say that in my day-to-day activities, like after school, I was always rushing home. Could not wait to get home. I wasn't really interested in hanging out on the block after school or really doing too many group activities. Like, being in school for me from 8 to 2 or 8 to 3, whatever the case was enough for me. I was done with people. I needed to go home and just do my own thing. I didn't really want to talk to anybody unless, you know, you were maybe like a really close friend or whatnot. but I just needed me time. I just needed my solitary that I enjoy so much to this day, and it just brings me this tranquility that is hard to find when you're around a bunch of people. Number 5, empaths may be drawn to wanting to help everyone they come in contact with and kind of like save the world. Being of service is something that is so innate to us. It's something that a lot of us have carried since we were younger, and we always just felt that our mission in this existence, in this life, is to somehow, however we could, to just help others along their journey. And a lot of people do see it as a burden and a lot to carry as an empath, but during that journey, you also learn that you are not here to save the entire world. We're kind of just a vessel and the one who holds the space for them to make that happen. And because being of service is something that comes so naturally to us, a lot of empaths are going to be drawn to certain types of careers, such as doctors, psychotherapy, coaching, social workers, and a lot of holistic careers as well, such as acupuncture, Reiki. We're going to be drawn to things that we feel can help others become a better version of who they currently are. Growing up, I was always so unsure of what exactly I wanted to become, but I knew that whatever I ended up doing, that it was going to be something to help other people. Number 6. People are naturally drawn to empaths. So because empaths carry a particular type of energy about them, we seem to attract a lot of people who are broken or who need some type of healing. I can't tell you how many times I've been at the supermarket or at the gym and someone will just randomly look at me and don't even ask me my name. Hey, how are you doing? No, nothing. They'll just start telling me about their wife that they feel like is cheating on them, or any trials or tribulations that they're going through. They'll just start telling me things that they probably haven't told people that are in their inner circle or whoever they confide in. And I just be there and like kind of trying to go with it, but it was always amazing to me how that would just happen. So I think a lot of people may unconsciously do this because they come in contact with someone who may be an empath or highly sensitive, and they just feel a certain type of energy about this person that makes them comfortable to kind of just tell them whatever they're going through at the time, even though they just met them, or they don't really know too much about them. But there is an energy that an empath carries that kind of makes them comfortable to be able to do this. But the negative side of this is that we also attract a lot of toxic people and a lot of narcissists. Narcissists could spot an empath a mile away and look at them as someone that they feel they might need to fulfill whatever they need at the time. And that's where boundaries come up. That's where we have to learn to kind of just say no and distance ourselves from a lot of people that we come into contact with, because we can attract a lot of people that actually do need healing and help, but we can also attract a lot of people who want to take advantage of our energy and what we carry with us for their own benefit. Number 7, empaths, most of us don't put ourselves first. We're so giving of ourselves and never feel like our problems are as big as someone else's problems. Our problems are just like minuscule. They aren't as important. We're not as important as the people that we're encountering and that we feel like we need to help. But we are important, and it's okay to ask for help when we need it. We can't always be the strong ones. We can't save everyone. We can't always be everyone else's support system. Others need to ask us how we're doing as well. People are just used to encountering empaths and just putting their issues, their problems, anything that's happening in their life onto an empath. But they never stop to ask, oh, how are you doing? I just spent the last 10-20 minutes venting to you. But how are you? A lot of empaths are so used to hearing other people's issues, other people's problems, what other people are going through. And not a lot of people ask us how we're doing. Like, how are you today? You know, they're so used to approaching you as soon as they see you, telling you about what happened with their boyfriend or with their sister or at work, but they don't take a step back to actually ask you, how are you doing today? And I feel like as an empath, even today, I'm almost surprised when someone asks me, like, how am I doing? Because I'm so used to being the listener, the observer, the one that's there to listen and understand and be there for someone else. So when someone else asks me, how am I doing? How am I doing? Do I know how I'm doing? Or am I still so caught up in how everyone else is doing to not realize how I'm doing? But if I'm not doing well, how can I be there for everyone else? So I need to take measures to make sure that I'm doing okay and that I'm feeling great to be able to help other people. Empaths, we need to stop neglecting ourselves. It's great and beautiful to be there for other people and for everyone else. But if you can't be there for yourself, if you can't do things that will make your experience and your well-being more pleasant, how can you be there fully and 100% for everyone else? Number 8, you love spending time in nature. Just being in nature just brings you such a sense of tranquility that is so hard to find in day-to-day life, especially if you live in the city, and just helps you escape from what's going on in the outside world. These are my 8 signs that you may be an empath. Please look out for my next video where I'm going to be addressing more of how to cope with a lot of these signs that you may be experiencing and how to just make your day-to-day life just a little bit easier, a bit more manageable, and different things that I've incorporated into my life that helped me realize that being an empath is very empowering and is not something that you should view as a burden or a heavy weight that you're carrying on your back all the time, but you can actually use this to your advantage in many ways in this matrix that we're living in. Until next time, peace. Bye.